welcome to yet another instalment of the Carp Shed, and yes, it's back to me. What I'm going to go is go through something completely different now. So we've done away with PVA series, and so it's been really popular, and we've had a few other ones sort of interspersed between them. But what we're going to do now is sort of a DIY section, really, if you like. We're going to go through making our own baits, making our own glugs, making our own rigs, you know, everything that's sort of involved with fishing, but making it ourselves. So it gives you as at home a sort of insight of how we do things and how you can do things at home to sort of improve your fishing and sort of put more of a personal stamp on things. So we're going to start with glugs or bait dips, whatever you want to call them. As I said, these now, there's a massive array of things, and I haven't got all the ingredients in the world. What I've got is what I've used and what I find is quite popular, but as I say, I will talk about some other aspects of it as well. Now obviously bait glugs, bait dips, what you want to do basically is have a really strong, attractive sort of liquid, if you like, around your bait, specifically your hook baits, because what that does then is that allows the fish, when they're browsing around, to actually be attracted to a single hook bait. Yet again, as we talked about in the rehydration series, sort of having that single hook bait more attractive than anything else that's out there, so when they are grubbing through, you know, the closer they get to it, the more attracted they are to get it, therefore getting you a bite quicker. So it said bait glugs, one of those things that you can either dip your bait in just before you cast it out, or it's something you can actually physically leave your bait in for a long amount of times, allowing it to seep through the core, or indeed both. So leave it go in through the core so it dries out, and then just before, reapply, put it on the hair, and off to go. So we're going to go through some of the sort of basic core ingredients of what I've used in the past and what I'm using at the moment, and how they sort of work together. The basis for 90% of mine, nice and easy, you can pick it up from any sort of shop. You see that there is liquid glucose. You can use glycerins as well, or you can mix them both back up. But say what that gives you, let's show you now there. That gives you this sort of, you know, the consistency that you expect with a glug, basically. So that's the basis of my glugs. Because what it gives you is, as well as, obviously it's really sticky, it's really sweet, full of attraction naturally as well. A lot of these neutral base glugs that they sort of market are a mixture of glycerine and a mixture of the liquid glucose. So it's a nice base to work from. What you can do, if you find that at the end when it's too sticky, you can actually add tiny amounts of boiling water to this. And those tiny amounts of boiling water will actually break down the sugars, dissolve them ever so slightly, make it a more manageable mix. So that's just a little hint for you. If you're finding that after you've done all what I'm going to show you now, it's really sticky, then instead just tiny amounts of boiling water, whisk it through, and what you'll find is you'll reduce the sort of viscosity of the liquid, therefore creating a more easily applicable mix. Next one I'm going to say is oils. Got standard off the shelf. I'm going to say this is off the shelf stuff, guys. It's fantastic that you can go to a shop and buy enough to make a gallon of glug for what you could probably buy a little tub for. Natural olive oils and this stuff as well. We've talked about it, but I've got you to show it. This is the ridiculously concentrated fish stroke crustacean sort of, it's absolutely disgusting, guys. But what it does do is it creates a really strong, salty, almost, you know, it's almost visible. It's so thick and gooey that this sort of ooze that comes off of the bait when they've been in these glugs, it's almost visible. But I mean, oils play a huge part of it as well. Yet again, the oils as well, when the baits have been knocked around by the fish, it'll send up those little puffs of oil, send them to the surface, looks fantastic, and then all of a sudden your rod's away. Brilliant. But yeah, again, they're naturally attractive to fish. So that's another part. So I'll have maybe sort of the basis liquid forms, really. Probably 2 or 3 teaspoons of the liquid glucose to a teaspoon of the oil. Obviously the oil will weaken it down as well and make it all sort of more liquid. So that's oils, fish, olive, vegetables, anything like that. Really strong, and obviously what they allow to do as well is they take on flavour. Like I've used in the past the sort of chili and the garlic oils that are available from supermarkets as well. Really good a product. Next one's a bit odd, but you know me already from this. I say I do use some odd things, and that's this stuff here, instant gravy liquid. You know, reading through the ingredients, it's full of sort of malt extracts and sugars and starches and maize extracts and stuff. You know, it's stuff that we would buy individually from a bait shop. It's all there, and I mean, it's really sort of you know, being a chef yet again, this umami thing that's new about the sort of, you know, Marmite yeasty sort of, you know, the gucky stuff on the back of your tongue. Really, really good, but mentally attractive fish, full of salts as well. You know, that's very, very popular, and yet again, it's a really, so show you again, that, you know, oh, just black liquid, you know, smells, you know, I talked about yeast extracts, Marmite to me and you, or Vegemite if you're from across the water, but I mean, that is also really, really good because it's just packed full of sort of natural attractants. So that's another part. Yet again, whisk that through. That also creates a really sort of dense sort of, so as it all holds off the bait, sits just around the bait, so you've got a little patch really of smell. Then we come on to something a little bit more commercially available, sort of for the bait shops really, obviously because at the moment we're shopping around supermarkets. And these are sort of the bait company's liquids. This is a really favourite one of mine, Mega Spice, an old Royal Hutchin flavour, really, really strong. I use that in pellet, use it in anything as well. It's a little tip, a little secret one for you there. But basically flavours, it said these are naturally got goodies in them as well for the fish. But what you want to do is obviously try and, now I say try and match, but I don't. I obviously counterbalance everything I just say. I'll use a really sweet glug on a fishy boilie, just to try things differently, just to see how they work. But yeah, again, you can add a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's, you know, limited by only your imagination. Whatever flavour you've got, you can use your exact boilie match, their boilie liquid, directly into this liquid to sort of match it up for you. And then last, but I mean by no means least, you've got these things. Here again, we're going back to the supermarket. Sort of powders. So say you've got paprika and you've got garlic. Really good, strong, natural fish attractors anyway. You said they're in baits naturally, put into the baits for you. But chili powders, and said any sort of those powdery ingredients, green lip mussel, betaines, anything like that, you can actually physically put in. Now whether you break it down with a bit of boiling water and actually whip it through and sort of make a liquid, sort of dissolved liquid, then apply that into your tub, that's up to you. Or you can actually put it in directly, because what it will do then is obviously it will dissolve into the liquids, and obviously when you put it onto your baits as well, then it will absorb in. Another great tip, talking about the green lip mussels and the betaine, is once you've taken your baits out of the glug, you can actually roll them in a bag of the powders, and obviously that'll stick and create a sort of coating. Leave that dry, back into your glug, back into your powders, you know, so you can create yet another sort of attractive amount of food. I say it's not really food, it's just pure attraction really, guys, for the fish. So I said that's a sort of DIY to making it, and I said obviously I could have mixed it all up in for a tub for you, whipped it all through, put some baits in and shown you, but it's no point. It is, guys, it's down to you for how you want to do it. The most important thing for me really is to make sure that it sticks to the bait in water. What you don't want to do is drop it through the water and the bait falls through and leaves this big puffy cloud above it of goo. There's absolutely no point, because what you're trying to do is get the fish down onto your baits. So play around with the viscosities, play around with the ingredients that are going to hold on to the bait, and then get it so that as it drops through, it'll leave a little whiff of sort of oils or attraction at the top. As it falls through the column, it'll fall through the column with the bait, and as it sits there, you can actually still physically see it. It's almost like an oil slick that you see on a surface, but just around the boilie. Really mentally attractive, guys. But I said there are plenty of sites on the internet that tell you exact ingredients, but I say I don't go by exact anymore. I go by what I think works well. I say it's accounting for some really nice fish. Works really well in the winter for your single hook baits, because they're not feeding loads. You want to create something that's really attractive to them. So if they are going to have something, they'll have that most really attractive bait. So I mean, loads of different things. And just to sort of go through what I'm going to use as well this year, going to use this stuff, which is great for exactly what we've just done there, which is using liquids, which is a PVA solid bag on a tube. So what you get, I'm going to say, it looks like PVA solid bag, but on a tube. So what it allows you to do is actually tipping down your liquids, pinching off a section of your bag, knotting it like you would any other normal PVA bag, and then you can actually either nick it through and put it through, because that liquid's quite thick, it's going to hold in there, or obviously you can treat it like a normal bag. So actually cut off a length of the bag, fill it with the liquid, put your rig in there, tie it off, and I said this is really good stuff, melts really quickly, but not so quickly that it's going to affect the baiting. And I said that is going to get a pile of liquid around your bait. It said especially works really well if you're spread baiting with a stick, because the fish are picking up one there, and if they've got that big sense of attraction that's 25 boilies down the road, if you like, they're going to skip 24 boilies and boom, they're on your boilie right next to where your hook is. So, I mean, use these things, guys. Give them a try. Give them a whirl. Yeah, again, any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment box at the bottom. But, I mean, I hope you're finding these videos really interesting, and so we're finding them brilliant. But what we would like to do is any suggestions for what you would like to see in Carp Shed, please let us know. And I said through the Angling Gazette website, or through our Twitter accounts on Angling Gazette, or indeed on Team Catch and Release. But yeah, so we're really enjoying them, and we hope you are too. So until later, Team Catch and Release, Tales from Wales, catch you soon.